Hello students, after the process of glycolysis, we had come to know that 8 ATP is generated. Now whether this that is the pyruvic acid which is formed as a result of glycolysis will be utilized for aerobic respiration or lactic acid fermentation or alcoholic fermentation, it all depends upon the organism's requirement. So if the pyruvic acid is utilized by, say, yeast for the process of fermentation, that is the incomplete breakdown of that is your pyruvic acid, then it will result into carbon dioxide and ethanol. Now the enzymes pyruvic acid decarboxylase and the alcohol dehydrogenase catalyze these reactions, and in case of some bacteria and all, the pyruvic acid undergoes the process of the lactic acid fermentation. In all animal cells, during the heavy physical exercise, also when the oxygen insufficiency is there, then they also go for the lactic acid fermentation. Now this is the pathways of anaerobic respiration. Now glucose we know is broken down into pyruvic acid. Now after the pyruvic acid, now what happens is that this pyruvic acid which is formed, now it can undergo two pathways. One is lactic acid fermentation and another one is the ethanol, that is your alcoholic fermentation. So for this, what they require is that the NADH2, energy rich compound, that is reduction of the NADH2, that is the reoxidation of the NAD plus is becoming, that is the NADH2 is reduced and it is reoxidized to that of your NAD plus. So if it is reoxidized, that means it is utilized. And if you perhaps remember, then in the glycolysis, if you remember, the NADH2 was produced. So this NADH2 which was produced during the process of your glycolysis now is utilized here for the process of lactic acid fermentation as well as for the that's alcoholic fermentation. So if you remember, each NADH2 will yield 3 ATP. So there were 2 NADH2, so 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. When it will form the lactic acid fermentation, it will undergo the lactic acid fermentation, so both NADH2 will be utilized. So net gain is 0 here. So what was remaining there, that is out of the 8 ATP molecules, the 6 ATP will be utilized. So ultimately gain is your 2 ATP. So 2 ATP for lactic acid fermentation, also 2 ATP for the ethanolic also. So this is how this 2 ATP as idea you can get, that why after the fermentation or anaerobic respiration only 2 ATP is generated. Okay, whereas in case of your glycolysis, at the end it is your total of 8 ATP which is generated. Now we will take upon the aerobic respiration. For the aerobic respiration, the Krebs cycle, the first thing which we will be understanding is that here what happens is that the pyruvic acid which is produced as a result of glycolysis, it will be converted into acetyl-CoA. Now this acetyl-CoA, how acetylation will take place is because of the presence of the two acceptors, that is your one is your coenzyme A and another one is your NAD plus. Okay, so these two reactions are catalyzed in presence of the enzyme called as your pyruvate dehydrogenase in presence of magnesium ion, in which the two, that is coenzymes, take part. One is your NAD plus and another one is CoA, that is coenzyme A, and it will undergo the process of acetylation to form the acetyl-CoA, carbon dioxide, NADH reduction will take place plus H. So the next part is that this acetyl-CoA will now enter the cyclic pathway which is called as your tricarboxylic acid cycle, or commonly it is called as your TCA. Now TCA that is tricarboxylic acid or Krebs cycle, depending upon the name of the scientist who has actually first found this, that is his name was Hans Krebs. Please underline these things. Now this tricarboxylic acid cycle starts with the condensation of this acetyl group with the oxaloacetic acid and water to yield citric acid, which is a first stable carbon compound. So here, since citric acid is produced, so sometimes it is also known as your citric acid cycle. Tricarboxylic acid cycle, citric acid cycle, or Krebs cycle, all the meaning is the same. Now this in presence of the citrate synthase, and a molecule of coenzyme is released, during which the citric acid is produced, and now this citric acid will be isomerized to isocitrate. You can see here the pyruvic acid, this is coenzyme A, this is NAD, another coenzyme. Reduction is taking place, decarboxylation is taking place, carbon dioxide is eliminated. So see, for the first time you can see that in the respiration, molecule of carbon dioxide is released. So here it was 2 pyruvate, so for this step there will be your 2 carbon dioxide which will be released, 2 carbon dioxide, because here it is 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. Now it will form again 2 carbon compound acetyl CoA. Now it will, in presence of citrate synthase, will form the first stable compound, which is a 6 carbon compound called citric acid, which again will undergo the process of decarboxylation. So here you see again there will be 2 carbon dioxide which will be released, because for each of them 1, for 2 there will be 2, and there will be again the reduction and it will form 2 NADH2. So 2 molecules of NADH2 here. Now this citric acid will then undergo decarboxylation and reduction to form alpha ketoglutaric acid, which is a 5 carbon compound, which again will undergo the process of decarboxylation. So here also 2 molecules of carbon dioxide. So see, at the end we are getting that how many carbon dioxide are released at the end of respiration, aerobic respiration. Here 2, here 2, and here 2. So total of your 6 carbon dioxide. Okay, 6 carbon dioxide is released at the end of aerobic respiration. Again, after decarboxylation, the NAD acceptor will be accepting the hydrogen, and it will be again undergoing the reduction. So again here 2 molecules of your NADH2, here 2 molecules of NADH2, here 2 molecules, here 2 molecules, and finally again we will be coming over here. Now during this process there is another accepting of the phosphate, inorganic phosphate, by another that is your compound, which is your GDP, guanosine diphosphate, resulting into formation of GTP, which is as good as your ATP. Now this will form the succinic acid, and in the remaining steps of the citric acid cycle, what will happen is that the succinic acid will undergo the regeneration of oxaloacetic acid. Okay, and since here you can see that that is during the conversion of succinyl CoA to that of the succinic acid, 1 GTP is produced. So this is an energy rich compound which is produced, and we all know that when the formation of an energy rich compound is formed from one substrate to another substrate, we call it as your substrate level phosphorylation. So substrate level phosphorylation, where does it takes place? In the Krebs cycle. If the question is asked to you, then in that case you have to say that from the succinyl CoA, after the alpha ketoglutaric acid, the succinyl CoA which is formed from where the succinic acid is resulted, during that phase the GDP combines with that of inorganic phosphate to form the GTP, which is an energy rich compound. So as a result we call it as your substrate level phosphorylation. Okay. Now also you can see that NADH is reduced in 3 places during the Krebs cycle. One is this, that is citric acid forming the that is alpha ketoglutaric acid by the decarboxylation and the reduction. Another one is at this stage alpha ketoglutaric acid into succinyl CoA. During this phase also you can see here 2 molecules of NADH2 is formed. Here also 2 NADH2 is formed, and at one point you can see that FAD plus is reduced to FADH2. And the continued oxidation of acetyl CoA through this TCA cycle requires a continued replenishment of oxaloacetic. Why? Because if this acetic acid is not produced, then the continuation of the Krebs cycle will not take place, isn't it? Now what will happen to these energy rich compounds? Let us first calculate how many energy rich compound will be produced. So here 2 NADH2, here also 2 molecules of NADH2, 2 molecules of NADH2, 2 molecules. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, and each of them is yielding 3 ATP. Okay, so 3 ATP. So 3 into 4, that is, it is becoming your 12, isn't it? And here for FADH2, for each FADH2 they will be yielding 2. So here 2 FADH2 is there, so it will be your 4. Okay, so it is becoming 3, 3, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 into 2, that is 24 from this NADH2, and from FADH2 4, so it is becoming 28, and then here it will be 2, 28 plus 2, 29, 30. So here from the Krebs cycle we are getting 30 ATP molecules. We are getting 30 ATP molecules. And if you remember, then in the glycolysis we have got your 8 ATP molecules, isn't it? So now if you calculate this total, then 30 plus 8 becomes your 38 ATP molecules. So that is the you can say the total ATP molecules as a result of your that is your aerobic respiration. Okay, so this is all about. Now where does this that is your yielding of the ATP takes place is that now this NADH2 which are formed, now this will undergo the process of electron transport system, or we call it as your oxidative phosphorylation, and this generally takes place in the inner mitochondrial membrane. If you see this diagram, this is an old book, so here I would suggest you to go for the new book, in that the diagram is better. There are various complexes. These complexes are not mentioned diagrammatically, but it is mentioned over here. That is your complex 1, which is your NADH dehydrogenase. It will undergo the process of dehydrogenation, and it will be transferring the electron to the ubiquinone. Okay, so it will be transferring the electrons to the ubiquinone. Now this ubiquinone is also receiving the reducing equivalent through FADH2 complex 2 it is. Okay, and then there will be cytochrome B C1 complex, and there will be complex 4, which is cytochrome C oxidase. This is the cytochrome C oxidase. And finally there is complex 5, which is the ATP synthase. Now ATP synthase, where is it present, is that if you just turn the page, you will find that it is present over here. That is, this is the inner mitochondrial membrane. F0 is inserted and the F1 is outside. So while the proton is pumped out, so there each time it is pumped out, the inorganic phosphate and ADP combines to form the ATP. So that is how the ATP is generated at the last stage. And here also you can see that at the end of the process of respiration, it is the oxygen which is accepting the hydrogen to form the water. So oxygen is acting as a terminal acceptor of hydrogen in the process of your respiration. So this is all for today's class.